Make a few things clear. Was talking to a brother earlier, and we just was going over the whole situation going on here in Baltimore, and there's some misunderstandings as to what's going on. Like, brothers may think that, you know, the guy that got called out on that rebuke, Tazawa, known as GMS Line of Judah. Now, I used to push camp with him and the other guys that's in the other camp here in Baltimore. And just to clear the air, there's only one GMS Great Millstone camp here in Baltimore, and that's GMS Baltimore channel, GMS Baltimore Works, and GMS Baltimore 3. Now, the guy, let me bring the scripture out real quick. This is 1 Corinthians 14:40. Let all things be done decently and in order. And just to have some decency and order to this, and to set the record straight, that guy was never part of Great Millstone. You know, I used to push work with them, and there were some things going down, you know, some order trying to be established, and brothers was bumping heads as to that order. You know, there was few discrepancies as to who the elders and apostles are as well. Not to go too far into that, but that was one of the things that led me to get out of the camp, me and another brother. And the first brother, he left way even before then because some things weren't in order.
I want to give all the praises and the honor to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah Bahashem Rakah Hakwadash, and double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Also, Shalom to the hopefully elect. And I want to go into another part of the video. This is a response from another page, a brother's page, and don't want to beat a dead horse, but for a while ago, little time ago, I kind of was getting info, basically ask, so to speak, what the hell is going down there? What's going on down in Baltimore, man? You know, really couldn't say much. All I could say is, hey, that has nothing to do with us. You know, that was the first thing that came to mind. Now I want to get in details because this is not a soap opera, okay? But what I will say is, just because you put GMS on the front of your name, don't make you righteous, okay? And not having GMS on the front of your name is your screen page is going to make you unrighteous, so to speak. My channel here doesn't even say GMS, but everybody knows who follows that I follow Great Millstone. Okay, so sometimes it's you know, it's really about the person's spirit. Okay, now the brother did a beautiful video, lined everything up. You can go to his page. I'll put a link in the description box by the Lord's will. And he kind of went in on everything that needs to be gone in on. My job now at this point is to try to, I was just going to post his video, but I said, you know what, I'll just do a short response, because it's a thing called overkill on certain situations. Some things, okay, it's said, done, and left. Okay, so right now, through the Spirit, this is about edifying, and it's about building the body, and that's what this is about. And a part of the body the body has an immune system. The immune system fights off viruses and infections, but those viruses and infections are needed to help build the body. Okay, so when we see Great Millstone and you see guys come into, and don't look at it as a cult, an occult, let's say that. Look at it, it is a group, but when you get guys that come in and they are wicked and they get cast out, that's part of building the body. Okay, why? Because that's what strengthens you. That's what allows you to learn in the future. So when that body sees a common cell that was disruptive and they got rid of, guess what? That same virus can no longer attack that body. it has to try to find a new body. And this is what we see in the circle of Great Millstone. You're going to get viruses in the body that must be repelled or must be cast out. And what they'll do is try to go to other bodies. Okay? Now, again, for brothers who are in Baltimore, okay, or wherever you are, who are doing the work, okay, just do the work. Okay? But if you're going to do the work, when you say in sincerity and truth, you have to be sincere about it. If you're going to follow the Great Millstone doctrine, follow it. And what I mean by the Great Millstone doctrine is the truth set up by the scriptures. So when the charity comes about, when the love of the brotherhood comes about, when the loving your enemies come about, these all reflect amongst the main, the first commandment. Okay, all these things reflect. Okay, this is Hebrews 12 and 27. And this word yet once more signifieth the removing of those things that are shaking, and of those things that are made, and those things which cannot be shaken may remain. So if you're a man of the Lord, you're going to remain, no matter who you are. Basically, if you're the elect, you're going to remain. Okay? Again, the whole point of this video, just because you see GMS titles, don't make a guy righteous. Just because you don't see GMS on the front of a title, it doesn't make him unrighteous. But we say GMS, and it should be, because why? Because the Lord is not an author of confusion. And you know, people read these scriptures, and especially if you're a newbie, you'll read these scriptures and you think you got it. And you really don't. Because milk is really meat to a degree. You think you got it, but you don't. Okay? The doctrine is the love of the brotherhood. The doctrine is to go out and teach, which is the biggest part of the doctrine, is to prophesy. Okay? To respect the ones who taught you. Okay? In every other form of life, the police department, the fire department, the hospitals, and wherever else you got orders and ranks and levels of communication of status. But in the truth, Jake doesn't want to do it, man. Jake doesn't want the level of order, status, and communication. Jake is always rebellious, but Jake will go to the job knowing there's a wicked devil or a wicked nigger there, and he will follow that order. Why will he follow it? To get a paycheck. So when you're in the truth, and let's say you're following our doctrine, and you're in the truth, and guess what? There might be things that are off to you, because there's no perfectness. We all are filthy. Okay, we all got issues. And that's the whole point of the body, to fight together. Okay, so when you're having issues together and you learn to overcome those issues, it's that much greater, man. So when the orders is given out and everything is happening in sequence, guess what? You're storing up your treasures in heaven, as the scriptures say. I ain't got to get it in the book of Matthew or Luke. You're storing up your treasures in heaven. So just like when you go to work and get that paycheck, when you do the Lord's work, you're getting a paycheck. It's just building up, man. Okay? This is Jude 1 and 4. Jude 1 and 4. For there are certain men crept in unawares, who were before of old ordained to this condemnation, ungodly men, turning the grace of our power, Yahweh, into lasciviousness, and dying and denying the only God and our Lord Yahushua. Okay? So let's go into this word. You know, we got to look up these words. Let's go into this word lasciviousness. Okay? Now this word lasciviousness, when you go to the etymology of it, it goes to wanton, which means merciless, inhumane, okay, having no just foundation or provocation, malicious, okay, being without check or limitation, okay, no balance, just over the top, okay, playful, mean, or cruel, hard to control, undisciplined. Okay, and that wanton is in the scriptures too. Okay, and we see guys like this, man. Okay, they're undisciplined, hard to control. Okay, merciless, inhumane, and the list goes on. You know, and I think a lot of scoffers, or a lot of people, let's say, who was in Great Millstone, I think they feel bad for themselves. I think what it is they know in the spirit that they're not right. Because there's no way that you can come into a truth of this magnitude and leave and say, I ain't got to follow no men. Okay? Or say, the hell with that doctrine. There ain't no mark of the beast. There ain't no goddamn America's the Vatican or Yahushua taught me. You have to be, something has to be seriously wrong for you to behave that way. And the thing that I see, honestly, I read spirits and I check. Now, sometimes a guy might be off and wind up turn out to be okay. Then you might have a guy that's okay. He may turn out to be off. So that's where you have to have the balance and have the understanding and be able to read the spirit, man. It's not always going to go out the way you want it, but guess what? That's where we rely on Yahweh Bashim Yahushua and the spirit to get rid of somebody who's wicked. Now, does that say in the long run, and I'll still say this, in the long run, we still, you know, if somebody's teaching the correct doctrine, not just teaching it, because there's a thing of teaching it and a thing of following it. Now, I've said this a long time ago. There's a thing where you're claiming that you're teaching a doctrine, but you're not following the doctrine, which means you're a hypocrite. Okay? It also means you're not really into the doctrine. You're just a front man. You're putting on the front to say, hey, look at me, I'm teaching. Okay? Now, we've seen this in Great Millstone. And I keep saying Great Millstone. I'm using it loosely because we understand the men of this circle or this aura that we are amongst. Okay? So I can't say we see this amongst ISUBK, and that's because I'm not in ISUBK. Okay? And that's just the bottom line. So as long as somebody's teaching the right doctrine and they don't have GMS on the front of their name, you still have to follow it. Okay? If you're planning on being amongst Great Millstone, because honestly, if you're following the doctrine and you're teaching it, you're still pretty much a part of this truth. Okay? This is St. John 1 and 10, Salakia. 2 John 1 and 10. If there come any unto you and bring not this doctrine, receive him not into your house, neither bid him Godspeed. Now, going into that, if the other brothers, and I'm not going to get into the detail, if other brothers is teaching and they're about following the doctrine, we can receive him. Okay? We can receive you. But if you're teaching and you're not following the doctrine, we are not to receive you in our house. And our house being technically our camp, or amongst the brothers. We can't receive you, man. This also proves that other camps is talking about we should all get along, we should all fellowship. But if it says this doctrine, that's singular, that's talking about a doctrine. That's not talking about 5 different doctrines. And we understand that Comfy has a doctrine, IUIC has a doctrine, ISUBK has a doctrine, Great Millstone has a doctrine. We all have a different doctrine. We all teach that we Israelites, but a part of the doctrine is switched. So we can't agree. Amos 3 and 3, I think. Okay? We can't agree. But if you're teaching the same doctrine, then we have something to agree upon. And again, there's a thing called mercy. Okay? So for brothers that's technically not in Great Millstone, but they're teaching the Great Millstone doctrine, who knows where that may go. But if you're a wicked nigga, okay, and you're claiming to be teaching a doctrine, you're going to get found out, man. Okay? And that was a reason why this particular guy did not want to meet us. Me in particular. Because I see it, man. And as experience, if you're out there teaching, and this is why it's good to be with brothers. Because when you're with brothers, you get more of a spiritual concept, so to speak. You can see more. Because all this, the scriptures talk about two or more gathered in the Lord's name. Okay? So, it's okay, but you want to kind of deal with brothers that have experience, that's been around in this thing. Just like I deal with the apostles that have experience and been around in this thing. And I don't care if anybody call me ass, bite, or whatever. It's a matter of respect. If it wasn't through the spirit of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, through the men that taught me through YouTube, what would I be doing right now? And you guys, other guys out there, that's not amongst Great Millstone, okay, who left, or whatever the case is, what would you have done without the name of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, man? What would you have done? What would you be doing? Would we not still be niggas in the world, man? And I don't care if you was an outstanding citizen going to work every day, getting on the MTA or driving your car to work every day, or whatever you do. You still a two-thirder if you don't wake up. Okay? That's all I have on that, man. I just want to do a response on that. Bottom line is, there's a lot of guys, and we'll say a particular guy, and there's a couple guys, and I'll say some who seem to be brothers, okay, that are still doing the work. But if you're going to do the work, do it in sincerity and love of the brotherhood. Okay? That's the only way it's going to work when it comes to us. You got to be a brother. If you're not a brother, you're not with us. Okay? You got to teach, and that's the number one thing. And you teach correctly, number one. Okay? That's all I have on that. I want to say shalom.